Here's the Subaru Outback 2001. Um, it's a work car. It has 274,000 miles on it. Oh, 278. And the shift lock broke on this thing, so I had to override it right there. And it's a fix. I mean, it's a cheap fix, but it works. The AC's not as cold anymore because the check engine light is on, and it's for a fan 1 control problem. So the main fan doesn't work, and that makes it fail the emission test. It does have new front and rear brakes, brake pads. The first ones I changed were the rear ones because it made that grinding noise, and I didn't really like it because it it was a headache, and too many like too much attention from people. And the front brake pads, after I did a hard stop, it had a grinding noise, and I thought they were worn out. But after I got them replaced, the mechanic told me after we took them out that they're fine. The second car is the Sebring. It's a 1999 Sebring. It has, I believe, 124,000 miles on it. Here it is. $121,550. It was fine when I drove it home, but right after I came back, I was backing out, and it stalled. The engine stalled, and it stalled 40 times that day while I was on my way to a supermarket. I didn't know at first, but this thing had a vacuum leak. I thought it was the IAC, the idle air control valve, or the throttle position sensor. But after I replaced both, when the parts came in like a week after, it didn't fix the problem. And I was fortunate enough to have someone who had the similar problem. He was over here and he asked me what I was doing with the Sebring, and I told him my problem, and he said, do what he did, which is there's a gasket, a bad gasket, and it was leaking a ton of air, which then the computer compensates with fuel. So that's why there's a high idle problem at around 4,000 RPM a minute. Right now, if I start her up, it's good, but the dash gauge is broken. A cheap way to fix it is to have a Amazon, it's like a OBD display that you put on it, like on the dash, and that will display the RPM or anything else you want to display, and that's like $40 with a Bluetooth OBD reader, instead of replacing that whole thing at pull apart, because it takes a lot longer. And third car is the van. It's a 1998 GMC 2500. This thing's a work truck. It's got all my tools in it. I replaced the battery, new battery, new brake pads, a new tie rod on this side. Let's see if it's open. Nope, it's locked. The back, yeah, I believe I locked it because I didn't want anyone to take all my tools away. But as you can see here, there are some rust spots, which I'd have to cut this section right here, cut it out, and then replace it with sheet metal and rivet. It's a gas hog. It's a V6. At first I thought, oh, that's a lot of gas, but then this one's a Mercedes S420. I bought it for the price was reasonable. I didn't know what I was doing. It's got a bad suspension on the left side. Well, it's a squeaky noise, and that's what we're going to do is replace the tie rod on both sides and replace the front suspension control arm. Yeah, but it does look nice on the inside. It's got 219,000 miles. It has a really big rear view mirror, and inside it looks pretty nice. The owner of this vehicle bulletproofed the all the doors and made it really heavy. You can hear it when you slam this thing shut. And plus the glass is double panel, and it really weighs this thing down when you drive it. A cool thing about this car is that when you open the back door at night, it's got more lights, make it look really pretty. And it's really spacious. It's a full-size sedan with a window, ceiling window, and it's got its mirrors and AC vent, and there's one underneath, cigarette lighter with ashtray. The windows work on this thing. My Subaru doesn't because because of all the problems. Yeah, here it is. So 4 cars.